Hello, everybody, and welcome back to JoJo's Bizarre... Nope. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bizarre Podcast Dogs Must Die. My name is Grant. You can call him Chip. And as promised, we are once again joined by a mysterious third voice. Please introduce yourself as you would like to be introduced.
Hi, I'm Arden. I used to make video games. I might still do that again one day, but I mostly do editing, consulting, freelance sort of dating sim and visual novel sphere things. I'll leave it at that.
Well, fantastic. We are so glad to have you on.
Yay, thanks for having me.
For this, our middle segment discussion, we are here to talk about episodes 13 through 24, the September 2022, drop. Kiss of Love and Revenge, aka the Sports Max episode through Jailbreak...
Huh. One of my friends was talking to me about this and how, like, we were both watching this with our significant others, and both of our...
Nope, not happening.
And both of our significant others kept, like, being surprised at us because we, like, have, like, read all of the manga, but we didn't remember what happens next. But as I was, like, watching these episodes, I was like, how could you possibly expect me to remember any of this? Like, especially for this section in particular. It's like, how could I ever be expected to remember any of the order that these things are happening?
That is the exact same thing our last guest said.
Really?
I think he said something to the effect of, I could tell you everything that happens, but not a word of, like, what order it occurred in. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you said, like, oh, it's these episodes in particular, I, like, hadn't realized that this is kind of, like, this is the worst part of Stone Ocean to me. And Stone Ocean is actually my favorite of all the JoJos, but I understand why people don't like it, because this middle like chunk is, like, completely incomprehensible, more than JoJo usually is, I think. But I don't know if that's just me.
Now, since you've mentioned your personal connection, let's go back to the question that I usually try to ask to kick off these episodes.
I'm sorry, I was, like, so ready.
How did you find, like, what got you into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? What led you here along this path to get to today of all days?
So I'm, like, a really big fan of Japanese, like, voice actor Tomokazu Sugita, who voices Joseph Joestar in Battle Tendency. So that's literally why I started watching JoJo, is just because, like, I love Tomokazu Sugita. I think he's so talented, and he is, like, such a delight. Like, the energy that he brings to, like, every role of his is, like, so much fun that I was like, yeah, sure, I'll watch JoJo. And then, you know, of course, like, I saw, like, a bunch of, like, fan art of, like, Joseph and Caesar making out, and I was like, oh, there's boys in this that are like, cool. And so Battle Tendency was all that was out at the time, like, just through the end of that. Right. So then I just read the entire manga, like, in, like, a few months. It was I don't think, like, that was responsible. Like, that was, like, a really smoking the whole pack situation of like just shotgunning all of the, like, up till the end of part 7 in, like, a month or two. And so now here I am.
I'm sorry that Joseph isn't in this one. I do apologize.
It's fine. He had enough time.
This particular segment of part 6, it's got a different feel.
Yeah.
Like, it is a matter of degrees, I'd say. It's certainly within the family, but it is, like, to the edge of the spectrum of comprehensibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think that this middle chunk, starting off with, you know, Kiss of Love and Revenge, not too bad. It's just kind of getting into the character of somebody who hadn't really had much, you know, to do yet. Or
very standard, frankly. Very normal JoJo's business.
And then literally the next episode, when you start Ultra Security House Unit, from there on out, it's just like, oh, what? Baby?
Yeah,
Bone?
Baby Stand 2.
Baby Bone?
I love that, like, even though, like, the Sports Max episodes are, like, pretty normal, pretty fun, honestly. The whole, like, thing with Jolene using like Stone Free to like lay out her web of threads and stuff, like but then like even in that like very normal episode where they're like, oh, of course invisible corpses have no concept of up and down, and I'm just like, god damn it, like I wasn't ready for this. Like
have you ever asked one?
I haven't. Like,
you don't know.
It's a like technically, I guess that could be true.
I think that this dreamless cacophony of nonsense is part of what makes this central bit feel so much like a cohesive unit, a lot more than we were talking about in the last guest episode, the last hiatus. Like, aside from just being a beginning, it doesn't really hang together as a whole. It doesn't seem like a natural place for a break. But like drop 2 here, I mean, we have a real unity of purpose. Everything is about this bone and the baby, what comes from this bone.
Yeah.
Every single episode. And also a real unity of time. Like, Sports Max happens one day. The next day and a half is like the next 8 episodes.
God, that's right.
And then after a 2 days interval, you know, Jolene wakes up and has a brain fight, and that's the end. That's it.
I love that Jailhouse Rock is just what happens to me when I smoke weed, which is why I don't smoke weed. Because I think that everything is happening forever, and I will constantly just be like asking my wife the same 3 questions over and over.
My fiance, when she was younger, if she got high, she would just start thinking about sharks a lot, which also sounds like something a JoJo stan could do to you.
It's genetic is what it is, yeah. Is Jotaro just high all the time? Is that why?
God. Like, I know that everyone likes to, you know, point at, like, King Crimson as, like, the, like, most incomprehensible stand or whatever, but it's like, no, you guys didn't read Stone Ocean, and I can tell, because, like, every other stand in Stone Ocean is just, like, no rules, just right, let's fucking go. Like, even, like, Honestly stand, like, Diver Down is just, like, oh, you think that it's just I can go through walls? No, I can put frogs into people's brains and like attach them. Like, he's just doing whatever.
Well, all Anasui wants to do is woo Jolene by demonstrating his ability to get up in there and rearrange them guts.
It would work on me. It would work. Just saying. I know this might come as a shock to you, but I like Anasui. I think he's a really fun character. But also, I don't know, I like that he has, like, concrete reasons for, like, being into Jolene other than, like, you know, fucking obviously, like, she's the best. Like, but I like that, like, they actually take the time to, you know, write, like, him being like, oh, like, I think, like, her determination is, like, really cool, and, like, her focus is, like, so makes her so beautiful. And it's, like, even simple shit like that is, like, I think a lot of male writers forget to give, like, male love interests, like, concrete, like, reasons for, like, why they like a female protagonist, other than like, because it's just kind of expected, you know. It's just like, oh, well, she's the woman, you're supposed to like her. So I like that they give that to Anasui. It's just cute.
So I've been thinking about Anasui, and of course you have to think about Anasui, especially for our agenda today, but I think the point of Anasui is to be inverse Doppio.
Explain.
We have this, I mean, very pink, very fancy boys, but Anasui has a good soul, but is outwardly the most evil thing in the world. Whereas Doppio, he comes across so sweet, so nice, but he has, like, the black heart of hell beating inside him.
That's completely fair. I love that Anasui is, like, completely correct by, like, being like, hey, we should kill that fucking baby, and, like, nobody trusts him because he is such a jackass, like, and because why would you say that, you psychopath? Like, but he's right.
Step that weird baby's head, come on, go.
Like, he's right.
I should have put a frog in the baby already.
I was saying that, like, it feels like his purpose in the plot is to show up whenever someone needs to die, like immediately and like without repercussion. Like he, like it's his main role is like to show up during a fight and just vaporize somebody.
Yeah.
Like I am not fucking around. We're not doing big punches. I'm going to save us by making him fuck a frog. Like.
Yeah. I have turned your bones into a Jacob's Ladder toy. Get over it. Get out.
God, that was so horrifying.
You know, we had a episode a while ago where we went through Araki's book on his process for making manga, and like, you know, he had a very detailed thing of like, you know, those very large character sheets.
Yes.
But he never talked about. Oh no, he did sort of, where he talked about how the next thing that's going to happen, even he doesn't know. It's just kind of a flow for him or whatever. But I just really want to know, were there other ideas he had to end the fight before turn old man's legs into bone springs? Or was that the first thing he went with?
Yeah. What about the first thing I went with? I feel like if you think of that idea, you're not going to not use it.
Yeah. Oh man, I've had the bone leg springs idea in my pocket for a while. This is the perfect opportunity to use it on the old man who subscribes to urine therapy.
God. I love that the whole, like, all of the Kenzo, like, fight feels like doing, like, comedy pratfalls, but as, like, horror. Like, oh God, that's awful. Like, it's just a constant stream of, like, Jesus Christ, man. But it's, like, it's comedy, like, you know, the bit when Foo Fighters is like keeps getting like stuck on the electric chair and shit.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That angle bracket turning into a slicing boomerang,
It's chopping
like from
her head
the
off.
Road Warrior.
I don't know. In some ways, like parts of JoJo feel like the similar but opposite takes on like Chainsaw Man to me, where it's like. Chainsaw Man is one of the funniest comics I've ever read, and it's also like one of the darkest comics like I've ever read, but those two are pretty separate. Like the comedy in Chainsaw Man is not really like very dark like often. Like sometimes it is, but the comedy in JoJo is like stuff that like I don't even know if I laugh half the time because I'm like Jesus dude, that's awful. Like the small stuff in JoJo does make me laugh. Like I love like Foo Fighters and like her like Big Gulp Cup, like all the time. Like shit like that is like really good. But then it's like the Kenzo fight is just so much. Just the constant. I made you slip on a banana peel due to feng shui, and I'm going to kill you. I don't know.
Also separate from that, I jammed my hand down your throat, and now you're drowning.
Yeah. Also that like.
Where does all the extra water come from, though?
You're in therapy. It's not water.
Oh, dear.
He's so hydrated.
I don't like this. Oh, dear.
Gotta get rid of it somehow.
He is so hydrated.
Yeah.
Well, why doesn't his skin look better? Answer me that.
That's fair. I mean, they don't give you moisturizers in jail.
He was caught in a fire that he barely escaped. I don't know.
Sure.
I felt like I was like, yeah, I'm ready to like go talk about it. Now I just feel like I'm getting like I feel like a dog getting like razzed up like at the park where I'm just like
Thinking back to part 3, somewhere in there, I recall making the point that giving depth to Dio would ruin him. And it's like Araki heard me through time and is just like, let me give it a shot though. Let me just try. Let's see what happens. Like building a scale model of the ship in which he and Jonathan died. He's working through some shit.
It's so romantic. I'm sorry. Like I love Dio. I forgot that like I really miss like his voice actor. Because like Takahito Koyasu is like amazing, and like the second he's like off screen, but you hear him do the like thing, and I'm like, he's back. He's so fun. I love everything with like him and Pucci, like because if you were Pucci and you know the most beautiful vampire in the world, like was like
the only vampire in the world. I mean, it's not a long list.
It was like, wow, like I really trust you. Like I would do anything for him at that point. I think Pucci he had some points. Is all I'll say.
But like seeing Dio talk about like transcendence and something more powerful than like seeking to power for the real reasons that drive him and something that's greater and grander. I think I am right that if you did the foolish thing, chopped up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure to make like the chronological cut, it would ruin part 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I do think that the character can carry it for this new story that it's serving.
Yeah. Because at this point, you know, like Dio's not coming back. Like no spoilers here, but like I think it's safe to say that like Dio is gone because he has been gone since part 3, and I like that. I think it's fun to kind of do that retroactively, but yeah, if they had like led with like in Phantom Blood him being like just doing all of this, it would have been really not fun. Like because he's a Saturday morning cartoon villain, and that's great, you know. I don't know, like he's meant to instill like gay panic and look cool, and he does that.
I just still really love the idea of. I mean, I know that Pucci and Dio did not meet in Florida, but I just love the idea of Dio walking around Florida.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like he's going to the nightclub scene, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's where he is.
It's so funny when he's like, you know, they kind of like dramatize it in the flashbacks where he's like, yeah, I need to be at these exact coordinates, like this longitude and whatever, and it's like, that's Florida, and it's so funny.
Yeah.
Every time you see on the news like there's some raft out of Cuba and they didn't make it, Dio ate them. They would have made it, but he ate them.
He needs a refill. Like Foo Fighters has their big gulp cups, Dio has
As Cuban refugees, yes, yes.
Like I understand why, like some people don't like Stone Ocean, but I generally feel like the cast is like kind of strong enough to overcome like the nonsense, especially with like this middle section. Like I think there's like some surprisingly good like character work in Stone Ocean that can kind of like, I think Araki can kind of let it fall by the wayside a lot in JoJo.
Yeah. And the anime added a scene or two that was new, that was also good character work, like fucking Hermes pouring one out for Foo Fighters.
Yeah, that was really cute.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I think that the way that we've structured this show, hand in hand with how Netflix structured their releases, has really harmed Hermes. Because she has a pretty strong streak, I would say, from like getting her stand to being back up in Foo Fighters' debut, and then like forming this powerful trio in the Play Catch Until You Die. And if you split that away from Sportsmax and then she disappears, it sucks for her.
Yeah,
she does. She fucking disappears.
She's gone.
Yeah.
Even like in the Jailhouse Rock episode, I was like, oh well, like Hermes is gonna come help her out of this, right? Because you know, again, I read it, I don't remember anything, but like it feels weird not having her get involved in that arc, like even though it is unbelievably horribly funny watching Jolene and Emporio, like that scene where they're both in the room and they're both like forgetting everything at the same time, like trying to like talk to each other, is so funny.
It's great.
But I'm like, get Hermes in this. Like I want her to be frustrated and like you know, I wanted to see that.
Just a scene of someone like with full brain babysitting someone who got jailhouse locked would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Gwess is, kind of. The Gwess sequence is really good, though.
I love that scene with Gwess, but I honest to God would have killed Jillian well before 2 days were up. Like, can you imagine? Especially like the part where she's like trying to watch a movie and keeps rewinding it, and the other inmates are like, "Oh my God, get the fuck out!" It's like Jillian is not making it out of that alive. Like, God, I love the rewinding part so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a stupid gag.
How many other Seinfeld episodes can we squeeze into Stone Ocean? Because we had the opposite. We had, of course, the bet. Do we think Jolene is still master of her domain after all these weeks?
I mean, there's been multiple times she's been stuck in a cell for weeks on end just waiting for something to happen, so...
Yeah.
If the moon comes through those bars. But on the other hand, who is more determined than Jolene Cujo?
Well, if the bet was a stand ability that if you do it and then you explode or something, then she would have easily, gotten through that not doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, so...
Or she would have found a very clever way to circumvent it.
Yes. There we go.
Getting off on a technicality, as it were.
It doesn't count if it's your stand. Yeah.
Thank you. I was saying that, like, if the Jailhouse Rock episode is just that Araki watched Memento and was like, hey, that would be pretty cool, if that was a stand, is Kenzo and, like, the Dragon's Dream thing, like, that Araki watched, like, Home Alone? Was like, what if that kid was doing all that with feng shui?
They keep attacking an inadvantageous angle of the house. Yes. Oh my god, yes.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah. Macaulay Culkin being like, I can see, like, you're the angle to have the worst luck, as, like, the guy's going up the stairs or whatever.
Oh boy.
If there's any other Seinfeld episodes that fit in, there's got to be a stand. Now that they're leaving, they're going to get trapped in a parking garage, and they'll never be able to find their way out. And also, they have a goldfish they have to keep alive, or else they all die, or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Emporio's
Foo Fighters
kind of...
offers to, like, blow their stick their face in someone's soup and blow bubbles for $50. Yes.
Emporio's kind of like a goldfish that, like, you have to keep alive.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So Jolene is Jerry. Foo Fighters is Elaine.
I don't like that I have to say that Poochie is like Newman, like, in this situation. Like, but I don't.
Poochie's Banya.
Oh, God. This is dire. I don't like this.
I feel like there's no extremely
Obviously,
clear...
Kramer is an Asui.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Horrible. My brain is, like, frantically trying to, like, replay every Seinfeld bit I know, but with this new cast that we've created, and my brain, it's not working. Nothing is happening there. Who's George?
George Costanza's George.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm so sorry, my mistake.
Foo Fighters does make sense as Elaine because the way Elaine dances is the way Foo Fighters would dance also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyhow, we've talked about them. Let's dive right into the topic. FF stands for Farewell Friend.
Oh.
We got to get into it. We got to talk. It's the last big dramatic thing that happened.
Yeah.
Aside from, Poochie stuff, I guess, but
actually, Foo Fighters like Death Scene still makes me, like, a little bit teary. I don't, like, on one hand, like, can you imagine how insane it would have been if the rest of Stone Ocean was Foo Fighters in Anasui's body?
Oh my god.
Which is, like, the bargain that Anasui had made initially. And was like, hey, like, I'll give you the rest of my body, like, just you gotta save Jolene, which that would have been interesting, and I would have loved to see it. But also, I again, this is the thing with, like, why a lot of the character work in Stone Ocean is really good for me, is because I feel like Foo Fighters, like, commitment to, like, of course, like, they don't want to take over someone else's body because, like, who they are has become, like, so important to them. So, like, yeah, like, they would rather, like, die and, like, pass on as, like, themselves, and not kind of, like, deprive Anasui of, like, who he is, like, in that process. I thought that was, like, a really sweet, like, way to kind of justify that narrative decision.
It's certainly better than the fake out death you get for her, where she just explodes.
Yeah.
screaming.
I was incensed.
Yeah.
Can you? Oh my god. Yeah. Knowing what was coming, and I was like, yeah, okay. And I did not even consider the idea that like people thinking that was it. Like that would have been awful.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to that episode of ours when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's two back from this one, so what would that be? Number 82. But like I think Foo Fighters is like the best realized character in this part, maybe in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure up to this point. Like certainly a contender. And I think it's because they have goals and tactics that really fit the genre, that like we don't have to stop doing what JoJo's is in order to do this character, because they're here to prove their intelligence through violence.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite characters in the series for sure. Just a lot of like really charming like characterization choices there. Like I already mentioned, like them just carrying around their big old cup all the time, and just like the little bit in the Sports Max like fight where Foo Fighters just starts picking up Jolene's like shoulder meat and like slapping it onto her.
Yes.
Like it's so funny. It's just I love that like they are both like a really good like comedy character, but also like very helpful and sweet and stuff. And I feel like sometimes Araki has trouble balancing like character who is comic relief with character who is like actually endearing and useful. And like is a character.
By this point, like Jolene's at least 30% Foo Fighters by volume, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like
it's like, oh, they'll always be with me.
And yeah, that's funny to think about, but I think it's also like true on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm breaking my heart again here. But I would have loved to see more of their daily life. I mean, this is true of every character.
Yeah.
Like, what would Irmis have been doing in the prison once her revenge quest is done, if she weren't, just sick in bed for those weeks?
Yeah.
For that, like, less than 1 week, I think, actually, if you count it out.
Oh god, that's right.
But like, what's the slice of life spin-off? Like, give me Oz, but a sitcom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want more Gwess.
Yes.
I love Gwess. I love Gwess.
Every time Gwess shows up, I'm so happy that she's there again, even if it's for like 2 minutes. She's just really funny.
Yeah, I love the bit where she's scamming Jolene out of like her food tickets, being like, "Hey, you should give that to me," like, and then just like, sucker. I love that she knows that like Jolene is like this, the scariest person in the prison, and is still like, how can I fuck her over a little bit though?
Mm-hmm. But it makes things like the Mirashone episode and the little like, oh, I'm just going to do the opposite, like insert scene with Foo Fighters be so load bearing for these relationships that we do care about. But like, just feed that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know. It's I feel like a lot of this like the maximum security ward like stuff being so long is like, I don't know, like such a detriment, I think, because like a lot of like these episodes just kind of like all blend in together, and it's like I feel like that's time that really could have been spent with like the main trio, or even like the main trio plus Honestly, or what have you, instead of like, well, our base is in the hospital and gone for.
How about a real flashback with like the actual action of why everyone is giggling at Toes?
Yes. What was up with that?
Let that carry me through Yo-Yo Ma. Come on.
God. Also, I love that they can't say Yo-Yo Ma, but they can say like Snoopy and like Batman and shit. Like, but they can't name drop Yo-Yo Ma. And they can't say Dragon's Dream, but they can say Snoopy.
Yes.
Which is made me feel slightly insane.
I mean, I've said this on the show, I think, twice now regarding Anasui, but okay, let's just say you are legendary cellist Yo-Yo Ma, and you find out that your name is being applied to this little
This guy.
Yeah.
I would speak up. I would have something to say.
Speaking of, I love it. Like when Yo-Yo Ma like shows up, like everyone just like non-verbally agreeing that it's on fucking site for that little green fruit.
Yes!
Like
Until it's suddenly not. It's very much not for no clear reason.
like Foo Fighters shooting him in the head instantly, like with no hesitation, is so fucking funny. Again, this is why Foo Fighters is the best character, but also as like a fun little tidbit, Yo-Yo-Ma uses like watakushi like pronouns in Japanese, which is like the pronoun that like anime writers use when they're writing like princesses, like to refer to them, like, and like that's how they refer to themselves. It's like a very like prim and proper like kind of like royalty pronoun, and that's what like that little green bastard is using for himself the entire time. I was like, wait, what? When I heard him say that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Really good little detail. But obviously I didn't pick up in the manga because I was reading the manga in English, but horrible.
I think it's interesting that, again, looking back to a point that was raised when we were talking about the first drop, how Part 6's stands are so much more integrated. They are the body in a way that hasn't been done before. Now we're getting stands that are so alienated, so separate from their user that they don't even share voices.
Yeah.
They're just weird, like, sidekicks, two in a row.
Yeah. And sometimes they hate their user.
Sometimes.
I think that Stand telling its user to shut the fuck up is something that they should have done more of.
Yes.
Very good. I think that like JoJo's always been like a really like body horror heavy manga, but I think that Part 6 is where it really starts like going kind of crazy with the body horror, to a part where even I was like, ooh, like this is making me a little squeamish.
Yeah.
It's like Araki has thought of so many creative and inventive ways to harm people, and I wish I could like study him in a lab. I don't know, like I want to scan his brain.
Just hook him up to whatever machine they've got Jotaro on with the little cuppies.
Yeah, it's so weird to go from like the really intense like body horror shit of like even like the fucking Limp Bizkit, God, Sports Max's stand, where it's like that whole thing where it's like he doesn't even know that he's like dead, but his stand is like still active, is like really fun. And then you get to these really like conceptual like detached like things immediately after. It's like it's a really weird shift. I do love the like all like the greenery stuff with like the trees like sprouting out of people is like so nasty and gross, but I love it. I think it's really cool.
Some of the imagery, like the what were originally like very large panels in the manga of like revealing, hey, this guy's face is mostly a tree. Some of those shots really feel Junji Ito to me, in like the page reveal they do for them and stuff. Yeah,
for sure.
But also, just talking about the body horror here. I just want to shout out the thing that probably made me the most squeamish, which is when Jolene uses thread to peel off a dude's toenail.
Yep, that's the exact thing I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
Nightmare.
Like a mandolin slicer.
Oh, God.
Again, this is why I was like, what's wrong with you? Why would you think of that? I don't know. I know that I'm saying this as like the horror writer, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
like I really like everything with like the green baby and how I wish it was more of a counterpoint. Like I can see the idea that all of the stands are getting weirder and looser, and the rules that held up the world are just wobbling and buckling under the weight of this thing. Yeah. And thinking of it that way, I'm making myself more, I don't know, forgiving of just how strange and like you said, no rules, just right this section is. But I can imagine another world where it is the only thing that works like that, and people notice, and it's really throwing them for a loop while they pursue it, you know?
Yeah. I feel like there was a way to to kind of do both, where like it is definitely like the whole point is that, and like things are just going to get weirder, but like
Oh yeah.
but like the next part is like it's really bizarre, but I do feel like it's like better conveyed than this like chunk of it is, if that makes sense. Like I don't know, it's still very like the stands get kind of more and more like high concept, I guess, if you will, and like just detached and strange, and a lot of shit's just happening, like getting into, you know, like King Crimson territory again. But I feel like it's easier to watch or read. I don't really know. Like, I think it's just because like there's no breathing room in this whole arc.
Yeah. It feels really weird to get almost a normal tournament arc in JoJo, essentially. Like, like even though most of JoJo is just like episode 1 or 2 parters of a stand fight, and then, oh, here comes another stand fight, it still usually had breathing room with the start and end of those fights of like, oh, here's the gang trying to haggle in India or whatever, you know? And this is just fight.
And it's like, it's that there are multiple fights that take multiple episodes back to back.
Yeah.
Which is like, yeah, again, it's when you remember that this all takes place over the course of like 2 days or whatever, and then and then the Jailhouse Rock stuff. I think that like having even a little bit of breathing room would have really helped it kind of like drive the point home that it's getting weirder because it's intending to, rather than just like, hey, Araki's going wild right now, and we're just along for the ride.
Something that I really appreciate about the green, the baby, and everything that surrounds it, the ritual even, is how it feels so old. It feels like pagan and like spooky pagan, like folk horror pagan, not like actual shit. But I mean, just drawing from the image of the green man goes a long way. But like, there's something perversely ancient about it. Like you're waking something that is like truly cosmic happening, and I kind of wish we didn't hear the magic words, because I think they let it down.
Yeah,
it's just, at least do some like fake Greek or something, keep it classy.
Yeah. I was just about to say, when you were saying that, and like me just thinking about like the words that Pucci has to say to wake it up, being like, I need to like look those up again because I forgot them like instantly.
Beatles in there like 4 times.
Yeah.
I can't hear it either in the episode or recited without thinking of Metal Gear Solid 2, though. It's all Harakiri Rock, etc. to me.
It doesn't actually matter, and I'm glad they don't say, you know, at this point or anything, how Dio learned of this ritual. But I do, but I do like imagining how Dio learned about this ritual.
I mean, he just did it. He did it 1,000 times and had to come up with the exact precise coordinates.
Yeah.
How do you think he knows it's 36 like horrid sinner's souls? He tried it with 34. It didn't quite work.
Yeah, he's got nothing but time.
Apparently so. He keeps finding a bunch of teenagers to hang out with. I would love if one of the Dio flashbacks had like a tiny John Gallier running around playing with a paper airplane in the background. Like, what are you doing here? What do you care?
I just remember that one of the words is fig tart specifically.
Yes.
Which is, again, like he's sitting there, he's going through every word in the dictionary. He's like, God, there has to be something. Like, just a lot.
And I just love that even though Dio clearly had, in his short time being around in the 80s, he got so much done. He's a very productive guy.
Yes.
Clearly managing, either he is just really naturally good at managing his schedule, or he had an assistant that was booking appointments for him.
What do you think Enya was doing in those years?
Yeah. And yet he still found time to relax and you know, just read books with his best friend, quote unquote, on the same bed. There was still time for leisure.
Yeah, I love the shot of him like shirtless, like with Poochie, like, and they're both like lounging in bed, like reading books totally separately. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
Poochie's mom knocks on the door. Can I get you any snacks?
Yeah, like, oh god, I love that it's, you know, very clearly invoking like the bisexual vampire stuff with Dio, but also like kind of like not being sure, like, well, what are these two guys gonna do together? Well, I could just draw them like reading, like, I guess, like, they could just do that, like, they love books, and it's just like, oh honey, like, you're trying so hard. I do love like Poochie as a villain a lot. I think he's just really fun, and like I completely understand him, because like I would, you know, if Dio was like my lover, I would also probably do a lot of this stuff. I don't know, like I'd try, but I just think it's like a way more compelling, like just simple like backstory for him than like anyone else trying to, I don't know, like I kind of infamously among my friends, I did not like part 5. And everyone really expects me to like part 5, I think because there are boys in it. But I don't like those boys very much. I think they could have been better, but like,
This has come up on the show before. Very detail-oriented listeners might remember I mentioned inviting someone to talk about Part 5 who declined.
Oh, yeah.
The circle is closed. Here we are.
Yeah, here I am. Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to like come on your podcast and like just be like, this part sucks, like when you're trying to talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. Like I find like Poochie like way more like interesting to me than Diavolo, who I literally had to look up his name just now because I forgot him. Yeah,
Doppio's imaginary friend. This is what I'm going with now.
Yeah.
I'm trying this opinion on. Let's see how it goes.
And I don't know really, like, I just feel this. I don't know how much it actually holds up, but compared to a lot of the other antagonists of the other JoJo parts, Poochie feels like more actually vulnerable to the heroes. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of like Kira from part 4, where it's like they're doing everything kind of in the background, because if they just try to do this head on, like other villains may, they would get their shit rocked in so fast.
Yeah.
Like him trying to fight Jolene near the end of this section of the show.
What a good fight, though.
Yeah.
Like, just about every time it happens, that there's actual fight choreography, blows being exchanged, it's great. And Jolene and Poochie around the end of the Green Baby saga, and also Jolene and Westwood just before it kicks off, both fantastic.
Yeah, I like that Poochie is not like immediately like this all-powerful, dude. And the episodes that we left off at, like in Jailbreak, he's like, Poochie's like gone, and he's got his fun new hairdo, right? I'm not like,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
I love that like episode where he's like freaked out by like what's happening to him. Like I think that's really fun, instead of like having a villain be like, oh, finally, like I'm ascending or whatever. He's like, holy fuck, this is scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like, yeah, man, that would be really scary.
It's also great because it shows how much faith he has in Dio.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this bone is going to substitute in the recipe for the world. Let's hope it works. Okay, it fucking did. What does it make? I don't know, but it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Just along for the ride at this point.
I am really excited for you all to get, like, the next chunk will be really fun.
Yeah, I have read ahead a while ago at this point, and yeah, I'm stoked for some of this shit.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's when, like, even a lot of Poochie like stuff like pays off really well in like this big next like arc. I don't know, he's fun. Also, I realize I have I don't know if either of you have watched like slightly less insane anime Fate, like any of the Fate Stay Night stuff.
No, I haven't.
So Poochie is voiced by my favorite character in that series, but I actually didn't recognize it because he is pitching his voice down so hard for
around
Poochie.
Here we call him Domo and fucking Kashu, but that's okay.
But yeah, he's he's pitching his voice down so hard for Poochie that I didn't like recognize his voice at all, because like he's very like, he's voices Gilgamesh and Fate, and he's got this very like kind of high voice, and he's like laughing a lot really like flamboyantly and loudly, and he's not doing any of that. He's counting numbers and like muttering a lot.
Are you excited to hear him play Toad in the Mario movie?
Oh God.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No. Hold on. You can't drop that on me. I'm like, I'm opening up a Mario movie Japanese dub. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Becky is Toad. Wait, Mamoru Miyato is Mario. Oh my God. Sorry. I am closing my browser right now. I can't process this. Mamoru Miyato. God, okay, sorry.
I'm just imagining how much faster my process would be if I recognized all these people by name. Instead of having to look things up for the cast notes segments.
Again, this is why Tomokazu Sugita is literally why I started getting really into like voice actors and by extension JoJo. I can't wait for someone who inevitably like put some of Poochie's lines over like Toad like footage from like whenever that comes out. I'm very excited about that. I just looked at my notes and I wanted to bring up like the stand Survivor.
Yes.
Which
yes.
stand that makes you mad as fuck is incredible. It's legitimately like I don't like the Dragon's Dream fight like at all. I didn't like any of that, but I think that Survivor is like a really fun idea. And I kind of wish that we got to see Jolene like succumbing to it more, because like she starts to get mad and then catches herself pretty immediately. I wanted to see Jolene get mad as fuck. Like,
yes.
Jolene is the most emotionally mature of the JoJos as well.
Yeah, by a long shot.
But like, I think it's interesting because it is a stand that exists to turn regular people into stand users.
Yeah.
These people who will get ripped as shit and destroy their bodies so the other guy dies even faster.
Yeah. And it's so funny because like we already have Whitesnake, which is stand that makes people into stand users, but like no, we're doing it again. We're just making you really pissed off, and like I think that's so fun. I kind of wish that we had gotten to see like Survivor, but like applied to like more normal people than just like that one guard.
Yeah.
Who turns out to not be normal people.
Yeah, exactly.
The other one, the one who dies. Yeah. Liquor. What a name.
God.
While we're asking for, I think at this point, 4 episodes of extra material squeezed in here and there, how about some of these weirdo-looking, apparently normal people all survivored up? I want this whole range of like pick your fave quasi stand user designs, and they don't do shit. At least not depicted.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, this reminds me for the entire most of this chunk where it's just fight after fight. When Survivor is first introduced and it's being made clear that like, oh, there's like 4 stand users here, as well as all these normal people that are becoming super powered by being pissed off so hard. I really thought it was going to be, when I first read it, fighting multiple stand users all at once. Like, I thought, because everyone kind of squares off one-on-one, and like you don't even really notice that there's like dozens of other people fighting in the background at the same time. And I just really wanted everyone to be fighting all at once. Just absolute chaos.
Like, I feel like that would have been really fun to watch, and also helps with the pacing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just like, yeah, we're doing this one big like brawl with everybody, like that's like I'm honestly really surprised that Araki didn't go for it, because it seems like the kind of thing that he would love to do.
So yeah, you make space for all the like comedy life in prison stuff I want by having the Westwood fight and the Dragon's Dream fight happening simultaneously in parallel, above and below the staircase there. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, you could probably do some really fun JoJo tricks that way when you have multiple battles going on at the same time, and also the unique challenge of trying to figure out how multiple different stands are working, especially if they're somehow interacting with each other in some way, where it's just like, oh, fuck, what is what? I can't tell. The lines are blurred.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I love some of the stuff that gets me like the most hyped in JoJo is when like two stand users figure out how to like, use their powers together.
Yes.
Like combine their shit. It's like that is the stuff that gets me so hyped.
Except in part 5. Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's the thing is that I just
They're kind of doing it all the time though.
You can't get me started on this because I will spend the whole time talking about part 5. If I liked those boys, it would be different. I don't know. I wanted that, and it's crazy because it's like Foo Fighters is right there, Honestly is right there. Like they're not doing anything. Like like I don't know. Like Foo Fighters is the only one who's like really fighting Dragging the Stream. And I know that like Honestly's whole thing is that he's like, oh, I can't get involved because like Jolene's not in danger. But it would have been so fun. Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
You could have made that guy's legs spring bones immediately.
Yeah.
Come on. You could have had 20 more minutes of hijinks of forcing Foo Fighters to be your wing person. Come on. I like that dynamic.
I love that when he's like, hey, can you trip her like a little bit?
Wing plankton.
Yeah, I love the hey trip her so that I can catch her, and Foo Fighters is like, why the fuck would I do that? Like,
yeah. Also, something that comes up with Anasui and Foo Fighters, like if there had been more time or the stuff had just been organized differently, I feel like we could have gotten more of that little character beat of Anasui not respecting Foo Fighters, because that comes up 5 minutes before she dies.
Yeah. It's funny because I like his whole thing with calling them like plankton and stuff, and like just being a bully to Foo Fighters is like makes the impact of him like telling Foo Fighters like while he's dying like, hey, like Jolene's mourning, I don't want her to cry, you can have like the rest of my body and my intellect and stuff. I feel like it makes that like really like good.
Yeah.
It's like kind of one of Honestly's like only redeeming moments.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, this guy is like he's not all terrible. He's just
hide your babies around him.
Yeah, like he's just outwardly like the most evil character, but that just reminded me that I love the visual effect that they do on the screen whenever he starts like flirting with Jolene.
Oh yes.
Like,
yes.
The cute like the like very pop like colors and stuff, and like whenever she's just not fucking getting it is really good. The whole bit where she has the like holes in her tongue and she's just like wheezing at him.
Yeah.
Her voice actress is really good. Like, okay, for this episode we're just gonna need you to like wheeze with intention, like into the mic. She's like, got it.
It's very funny. But hey, let's have our tongues tango. Come on. Oh, you're cracking my neck because you love me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that we've talked about everyone in the regular cast as a character except Jolene Cuccio at this point. And I think the reason is I think it goes to demonstrate something you said, Josh, very, very early on, maybe even our first Stone Ocean episode, that she comes out fully formed.
Yes.
Like there is no like grace period of like figuring out who this is. She hits the ground running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She only gets more herself. She doesn't change, at least not until perhaps the future holds some new development. I don't know. But up to this point, it's just more and harder.
Yes.
Yeah. You go.
Oh no, go ahead. I immediately forgot what I was about to say, so.
Oh, sorry. I love her. She is why this is my favorite arc. She's just like such a fun protagonist. I think that Stone Free is so fucking cool.
Yes.
I don't know. She's just so fun, and I love that she's rude and like snippy. Like she has such a big heart. I don't know. I do think that like she's not like changing along the course of the show. It's just And I like that her opponents and like the people around her kind of recognize that, where it's like even from the beginning they're like, oh my god, like she is like her force of will is like insane, and I love her for that.
The bit with Jolene and Poochie having their fist fight at the end of this portion, the bit where Poochie like gets knocked off guard or whatever, or something he's trying to do doesn't work, and he's like, why the fuck did that happen? Oh, she intimidated me.
Yeah.
Oh, she scared me.
Yeah.
What a special boy. What a special boy he is. I think it really comes down to, earlier this episode you mentioned us reading manga in theory and practice, and as I recall, the like number one rule Araki gives for making your protagonist to live in the pages of Shonen Jump magazine is like that they don't fucking quit. They don't give up. And it's just like, let's just turn that into the most extreme version and build a person around it. And, you know, he knows what he's talking about. It works. It works.
Yeah. Especially like I loved her obviously in the manga, but like her voice actress is like perfect. Like she's bringing so much good shit to this role. And just absolutely killing it with like every line delivery. It's crazy. I feel like Jolene also is like helped out a lot because like you get to see her like interacting with her friends in ways that aren't just like through stand fights. I mean they do turn into stand fights, like, you know, the part where like they're playing catch and shit. Like the debt collector is like really fun, but like I like seeing that. It kind of reminds me of like the camaraderie of like part 4. In some ways, where it's like you have that like central group of characters, and I feel like that works really well when like you just have like these characters who have like a lot of like really good chemistry with one another. Yeah, I'm weak for like, look, it's a rude woman, like that's
Yes.
what else, like that's all I need. Like I don't know, I love that she gets to
And
be
she's surrounded by so many others.
exactly.
Yes.
Like I love that she gets to be like crass and like, you know,
It's a whole building full of them, really.
yeah, she gets to be just as like crass and like rude, like as any other like JoJo character would be.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that wasn't like toned down, just because like, you know, girl, which is like something that I might have expected. But no, she's rude as fuck. I love her. The whole like bit in the beginning where she's like doing all the different hand gestures to tell someone to fuck off is like,
Yes, that part's so good.
yeah.
And it's so fun to imagine that, like, that person is under the surface when she's, like, taking her school picture that's on Jotaro's, like, desk when he's hooked up to the cup machine, you know? Like, that person is also riding in the car with Romeo. She just doesn't get to come to play just yet,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And what would it take for the opposite? What would it take for, like, normal, standard, 90% of the lines gone from her face Jolene to show up in prison? Or out of prison. She left prison. We're all out of prison. That's huge. We left we gotta talk about leaving the goddamn prison.
Well, they left the prison in like the final 2 seconds of where we left off.
Still!
I'm excited for y'all for the next part. It's like, it's really good. I think that I'm just like glad that it finally did leave, because I remember when I was first like reading the manga, I kind of like didn't expect that they were going to actually leave at any point. Like I know that sounds like weird, but I was just I assumed that like if your gimmick is like this one set in jail, you're not gonna leave the jail. But no, and it's like a good it's also just like a good like storytelling parallel with like, you know, the stakes are getting like way higher and like the world is kind of like opening up, and now like they're like out on the road and it's fun.
Everything's questions now, right? Are their limiters taken off because now they don't have to contend with all these systems of control? Or are they at a disadvantage because they invested so heavily in figuring out how to work those systems to their advantage? And now who cares? Oh, you bribed a prison guard? That's 80 miles away. What the fuck do I care?
It's also going to be interesting, you know, because reading the manga is just, you know, black and white. It's going to be interesting to see everything outside of the prison, because JoJo is generally a pretty damn colorful series, and it's been weird to be in such a stark gray concrete setting for 2/3 of the show, and so I'm curious to see what part 6 is going to feel like when suddenly there's a lot more color like popping out everywhere.
Yeah. Especially for like Bohemian Rhapsody.
God, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope it's good. I have been like this the opening of this episode or of like this arc. I think this is my favorite like opener since Battle Tendency, actually. Which is like great song. Good.
I dance in my chair every time.
Yeah,
every
there's
time.
just a lot of energy in that song. Like,
yeah, and it's so colorful and good. I love how bright it is.
Also interesting to have an OP that doesn't have one of the like 2 bands they go to like as tradition for all their other OPs, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was very much like, please, they have got to get a female vocalist for this one, and they did. And I was like, thank you. Oh, sorry. The one other thing that I had on my notes that is just like a really funny like thing that I noticed. Like again during the Kenzo fight, I love it. Like the part when like Foo Fighters like goes through like the like banister or something like to avoid him, and I love it. That's the most normal thing that anyone's done in several episodes, and Kenzo is immediately like, oh, you're not human, instead of just like assuming that they're a stand user. Like he just immediately goes to like, you're like,
or like a circus performer or something.
Like anything. But like literally the most normal thing, and the most normal thing that's still supernatural, and Kenzo's like, oh my god, like what are you? And it's like, dude, this woman just turned her hand into thread. Like, it's... Please.
Okay. Do you think, as like a long time Stone Ocean fan, that I am onto something, that I have revolutionized the study of this part by unlocking the secret that Foo Fighters is a kappa?
Is that a secret?
I mean, I didn't see anybody else talking about it. Some people in the comments for that episode on the YouTube mirror, hello, YouTube comments, I read you. Thanks for being cool. Had their minds blown by the idea.
It's so funny because I felt like it was sort of obvious, and especially in the part with Kenzo where like the fucking boomerang, you know, hits them. And,
they can't spill the water from their head.
Spot. It's in the exact like spot where all the the little kappa like dish goes. Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You.
I'm validating.
I love validation. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I do all these shows for. Anyhow, I guess we should wrap up since we're already talking about what comes next. As mentioned, our next new episode is going to be on Bohemian Rhapsody 1 and Bohemian Rhapsody 2. That's episodes 25 and 26 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, beginning that final December 1st, 2022 episode drop as we head toward the very end of animated JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
My God.
For now.
For now. I really hope that Part 7, like, gets an adaptation. I know it's always kind of dicey if like they're gonna keep going, but Part 7 is probably my second or third favorite JoJo. So I like that it kind of resets the stakes back down to like normal stand stuff, or like as normal as stands can be.
Yeah.
One of the few things I know is that it is very highly regarded.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I want to know what everybody's so curious about.
Yeah.
And I can't become a reader because otherwise it spoils the conceit of the show. Unless they like positively come out and definitively say it's never happening.
Yeah.
I can't read ahead.
Yeah. Oh, that's torture. Also, Chip, you'll know they cut my favorite part of Stone Ocean.
Yeah.
Which I'm very sad about, but they couldn't have done it in the anime without getting sued. So I'm going to trust you to fill Grant in on what's missing
Pretty sure
from Bohemian Rhapsody. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So,
every week after finishing my notes while watching, I do check the wiki for the anime manga differences section.
oh, fun.
So
Yeah, there will be quite a notable one here.
Mm-hmm.
they get granular on some of those.
Yeah.
I haven't
who's
checked.
next to who in group shots?
Oh my god, really?
Like, granular, yes.
That's funny.
But before we let you go, Arden, I would like to ask you, you got anything you'd like to point people to, upcoming or past projects? And if you want people to find you, where can they do that?
I don't want anyone to find me. I want to live in a cave.
Just a hole, just a little hole in the ground.
Yeah, I want to live in a hole in the ground, and I'm going to be a little borrower and use an acorn lid as my dinner bowl. I don't know. My Twitter that I don't use is at Spratella, and I might come back into the public eye at some point. We'll see. But for now, I'm happy to live in a little hole in the ground. So, yeah, I don't know. That's it. I have nothing really to point people to right now because I've just been doing freelance work for other people. So, go play Get in the Car Loser, which I did editing on.
Ooh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm going to correct you and use it as an excuse to once again talk about the end of the 6 Feet Under Mouse Guard campaign.
That's right. Thank you.
Once again, I brought one of my little mouse babies to guest on the show. A couple months ago, the finale went up. Everything I've seen, universal praise, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so happy that something that I enjoyed is being enjoyed by the listeners. But almost all of that has been talking about the whole thing as a whole. The few exceptions, when people talk about specific scenes, they're talking about scenes you're in, Arden, and
really?
I want you to be as proud of that as I am for you.
Oh my god, that's so sweet. I had no idea. That's really nice. I'm very sensitive, so I usually don't look up like how stuff that I worked on is like received, just because I'm like, it's not my business. If I need to know, I'll find out. But that's really sweet. Thank you.
So once again, that is SIXFEATSUNDER.com. You know what? You know what I did yesterday? I got a plug. You know what I did yesterday? I wrote what will probably be a one-page RPG once I'm done with the formatting. It is about being a sexy doctor who is also an intelligent swarm of bees.
I would love to play this.
It is called Sting Operation.
Fuck up. Never mind. I'm not playing this.
So like I said, I just wrote a first draft yesterday. By the time you're hearing this, it might be available on my itch page. That's My Name is Grant at itch. And it might be shortly upcoming by the time you listen to this. No promises, but it's called Sting Operation. It's a lot of fun. So look out for Sting Operation coming soon. Maybe already coming at you. I don't know. I've never done my own layout before. I don't know how long it takes. But again, join us next time to talk about Bohemian Rhapsody Parts 1 and 2. One last huge thank you, Arden, for joining us on this episode. It's been a great time. Been looking forward to it for a full season of the show.
Oh, yay. Yeah, I'm always happy to be on here when I'm talking about a part that I like. Yeah.
So with that, to be continued.
Later, folks.
Bye.